Before everything became chaotic and full of whispers, AJ Raval was already carving her own path in showbiz.
Ayun, may message nga. Pero ano lang naman to, mga questions, mga interview for article, ayun lang.
As the daughter of action star Jeric Raval, she stepped into the industry with a familiar surname. But it was her bold personality, rising confidence on screen, and massive online presence that quickly pushed her into the public eye. People were drawn to her mix of sweetness and daring energy, and as her popularity grew, so did the curiosity surrounding her life behind the camera. Before we continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our uploads. AJ's early career was marked by fast attention, movies, viral posts, and constant spotlight. But it wasn't just her projects that got people talking. The moment her connection with actor Aljur Abrenica surfaced, interest in her doubled overnight. Fans wanted to know everything about them, their chemistry, their status, and what might be happening behind the scenes. Little did anyone know the story was about to get even more complicated.
Hello everyone, this is AJ Raval and for today's vlog.
Before the rumors, before the interviews, and long before the internet started dissecting every move she made, AJ Raval was simply known as the daughter of Philippine action icon Jeric Raval. Growing up in a showbiz family meant she was surrounded by cameras, sets, and scripts. But AJ didn't rely on her surname to gain attention. She stepped into the industry with her own style. Confident, expressive, and unafraid to take on roles that instantly made people notice her. Her presence online also played a huge part in her rise. With every photo, every short clip, and every candid moment she shared, her following grew bigger and louder. Fans saw her as someone refreshing, fun, daring, and unapologetically herself. But as her popularity started to take off, so did the public's curiosity. People didn't just want to watch her movies, they wanted to know who she really was behind the spotlight. And that interest only intensified when she was first linked to actor Aljur Abrenica. Because from that moment on, AJ's life wasn't just her own story anymore. It became a story everyone wanted to follow. And that growing curiosity didn't fade. It exploded. The moment AJ was publicly linked to Aljur Abrenica, the conversation around her shifted from simple admiration to intense scrutiny. Suddenly, every photo, every public sighting, and every short pause in her career became evidence for something bigger. Fans started connecting dots, even when there were no dots to connect. At first, it was just harmless talk online. People wondered if they were officially together, if they were living quietly away from the spotlight, or if something more serious was happening behind the scenes. But it didn't take long before the whispers turned into louder, more persistent rumors. Some claimed AJ was expecting. Others insisted she'd already given birth. And every time she wore loose clothing or took a break, the internet treated it like a major clue. AJ tried to laugh it off, joking in interviews that people assume she's pregnant every year. She brushed it aside with humor, but even her lighthearted reactions weren't enough to silence the noise. The rumors kept circling back, stronger each time, almost like the public was waiting for someone to slip up and say something they shouldn't. And eventually, someone did. But the twist was that it wasn't AJ. It wasn't Aljur. It was someone who never meant to reveal anything at all, setting the stage for a moment that would shock everyone watching.
Si AJ, yung anak kong babae, si Babats. Babats kasi yan eh. Babatong.
Oo.
Yung AJ kasi, anak ni Jeric, kaya AJ.
And that's exactly where the story takes a turn no one saw coming. After months of whispers, theories, and online detective work, people assumed that if the truth ever came out, it would come directly from AJ or Aljur. Maybe through a social media post, a quiet interview, or a simple confirmation. But instead, the reveal came from someone whose words carried even more weight. Someone who never intended to expose anything in the first place. AJ's own father, Jeric Raval. It happened during his appearance on Fast Talk with Boy Abunda, a show known for honest conversations and moments that catch even seasoned stars off guard. Boy Abunda has a way of making people open up. And while Jeric remained composed, there was a moment, just one moment, where everything changed. In the middle of answering a question, he casually mentioned something that instantly shook the entire internet. AJ and Aljur already have 2 children, not 1, 2.
Former actor Jeric Raval is very proud of his 2 grandchildren from AJ Raval and Aljur Abrenica.
The audience didn't even react immediately. It was one of those situations where the words were out, clear as day, but people needed a second for it to sink in. Even Jeric seemed to realize he said something he wasn't supposed to. The look on his face wasn't dramatic, it was subtle, almost like he caught himself mid-sentence but couldn't take the words back. And once something is said on national television, that's it. There's no rewinding, no erasing, no pretending it didn't happen. The reveal spread online within minutes. Headlines popped up everywhere. Fans started clipping the moment, replaying it, dissecting every expression on Jeric's face. Some said he looked proud, others thought he looked nervous, and a few claimed it didn't feel like an accident at all. But regardless of the interpretation, one thing was clear. The years of speculation suddenly had a new layer of credibility. Jeric later explained that the slip wasn't planned. He said he got overwhelmed during the conversation, and by the time he realized what he'd said, denying it afterward would have made him look dishonest. In his own words, he didn't want to lie.
Babae?
Hindi ba? Hindi lalaki.
Madami nga kasi. Diba? Kanina nagbibilangan kami dun.
Talaga?
And because he's a straightforward, old-school figure in showbiz, people believed him. To many viewers, it felt like a father simply being real in a moment of vulnerability. But this wasn't just a random reveal, this was a bombshell coming from the most respected person in AJ's life. And it shifted the entire narrative immediately. Suddenly, the rumors didn't feel like rumors anymore. They felt like half-truths waiting to be pieced together. The media focused on every detail Jeric mentioned. The first child being a girl, the second being a boy, and the fact that he counts them among his grandchildren. Fans started debating whether AJ had been protecting her privacy or simply avoiding unnecessary drama. Others questioned what this meant for her relationship with Aljur. And then there was the biggest question of all. If Jeric had revealed this much without meaning to, what else had been kept quiet? This single interview didn't just confirm what many suspected. It opened the door to even more questions. And while Jeric tried to calm the situation afterward, the buzz was already unstoppable. Everyone wanted to know what AJ would say next, how she felt about her father's slip, and whether she would finally break her silence, because after a reveal this loud, the story could only get more complicated from here. And once Jeric's unexpected reveal exploded online, the spotlight didn't shift away. It intensified. Suddenly, the conversation was no longer about whether the rumors were true. The new question became, what does this mean for AJ Raval now? For any rising celebrity, momentum is everything. AJ was in the middle of building hers. Films, endorsements, growing social media traction. But with the confession out in the open, her career found itself at a crossroads. People weren't just talking about her projects anymore. They were analyzing her silence, waiting for her statement, and counting every day she didn't speak. That kind of pressure can change how the public sees an artist, whether they want it to or not. Some fans admired her for keeping her private life genuinely private. They felt she had the right to protect her children, her relationship, and her peace, especially in an industry where everything gets magnified. Others questioned why she denied or joked about the rumors before, not realizing that celebrities often face difficult choices. Protect your family's privacy or feed the media the narrative they demand. On top of all that, AJ has never been free from harsh online criticism. Bashers constantly pick apart her lifestyle, appearance, and personal decisions. And with Jeric's slip, the negativity grew louder. But something interesting came out of this moment. AJ's calm.
And then, third one is Alkina, yung panganay po namin ni Aljur.
Okay.
Junior, and then Abraham.
In a snippet circulating from her Boy Abunda sit-down, she talked about how she handles being judged, how she's learned to breathe through the noise, and how she's still deciding when or if she'll return to acting full-time. This raised a bigger question. Could Jeric's reveal reshape the way AJ manages her career? But one thing was certain. Whether she chose to speak up or stay silent, AJ's next move would be closely watched. After all, the reveal didn't just change public perception, it set off a chain reaction that reshaped the narrative around her relationship, her family, and her entire future in the industry. And that brings us to the part of the story that makes everything even more complicated. The personal dynamics behind the scenes, and the expectations placed on AJ by the people closest to her. And with AJ's career now tangled in public curiosity, the attention naturally shifted to the people behind her. Because when the father becomes the source of the biggest reveal, it raises an entirely new layer of questions about the family dynamic.
So, yung mga apo ko, sabay-sabay yan, maliliit na batang maliit. Mga one of my apos, siguro ang kasama.
Pero sir, naglilive-in na ba sila?
No, hindi.
Jeric Raval has always been open about loving and protecting his children, but he's also known for being traditional, especially when it comes to how he wants his daughters to be treated. Long before the interview, he'd already told Aljur, publicly at that he should marry AJ when the time is right. It wasn't a demand, but it was definitely a statement that hinted at his expectations. And after the reveal, that comment hit differently. People began wondering whether Jeric's accidental slip was really unintentional, or if it happened because he was carrying more than he could hold in. At the same time, the spotlight on AJ and Aljur's relationship grew sharper. Fans asked whether they were living together quietly, whether they planned to make things official, and whether the reveal meant wedding bells might be next. Rumors suggest that some people close to them believe a marriage could happen eventually, though nothing has ever been confirmed. Still, the speculation alone added more pressure to an already complicated situation. And then there's AJ herself, caught between protecting her private life, managing her career, and navigating expectations from all sides. Being a public figure is already exhausting, but being a public figure whose family just confirmed the one rumor she kept close, that's a different kind of weight. It's a different, And that leads to the biggest question of all. Where does AJ go from here? And what happens next for a story that seems far from over? Because despite the reveal, the reactions, and the unanswered questions, the most intriguing part of AJ Raval's journey might still be ahead. And with all these possibilities laid out, the story naturally leads to one final question. Where does AJ go from here? After everything, the rise, the controversies, the rumors, and her father's unexpected reveal, AJ Raval now stands in a moment that could redefine her entire public narrative. It's a rare point in her journey where the future feels wide open, and every direction holds a different outcome. Whether she chooses to speak out, stay silent, return to acting, or step back for a while, one thing is certain: the public will be watching. That's the price and power of fame. Every move becomes part of the story, and AJ's next move might just be the most important one yet. But beyond all the noise, This situation reminds us how complex life in the spotlight really is. Behind every headline is a real person trying to navigate pressure, expectations, and private battles the world doesn't see. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our future uploads.